The day my sister cried at my wedding, she was already planning to destroy it. I didn't see the knife coming because it was wrapped in a bridesmaid's dress, and the person adjusting my veil was quietly unraveling my future. The tears at my wedding weren't love. They were guilt. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 29 from North Carolina, and I work as a dental hygienist. I live a small, steady life. Nothing flashy, nothing dramatic. I have quiet mornings, warm coffee, and people who keep their word. Most of all, I believed in family. For 29 years, I believed in it without hesitation. Family became the one thing that broke me. My sister Hannah was my best friend. We shared everything: a bedroom, clothes, secrets whispered under blankets at midnight. When we were kids, people used to joke, "You two are inseparable." And they were right. If something hurt me, it hurt Hannah. If something scared her, I stood in front of it. That's what sisters do, right? Until one day, they don't. When our dad passed away 5 years ago, Hannah and I leaned on each other. Grief has a strange way of fusing people. We cried in the same kitchen, held each other through the same empty holidays. We promised something that winter. No matter what happens, we stay close. I meant every word. Promises sound different to different people. Then came Daniel. Daniel didn't crash into my life. He arrived quietly, like stability wearing human form. He listened more than he spoke. He noticed things most people ignored: how I liked my eggs, how I hated loud arguments, how certain memories still made me flinch. Being with him didn't feel like fireworks. It felt like peace. Peace attracts jealousy more than chaos ever does. When Daniel proposed, my hands were shaking, not from doubt, from happiness. Hannah screamed so loudly the waiter dropped a tray. "Oh my God," she cried, hugging me. "This is happening. This is really happening." She cried harder than I did. She called herself my maid of honor/life manager. Spreadsheets appeared, color-coded ones, vendor lists, seating charts, timelines down to the minute. "This wedding," she said proudly, "is going to be perfect." I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was my sister. She was already talking to Daniel's ex. Her name was Olivia, Daniel's ex-girlfriend, the one he rarely mentioned. Not because he was hiding anything, but because, according to him, that chapter is closed. Closed chapters have a dangerous habit of reopening. I didn't know Olivia personally. I only knew fragments. She didn't take the breakup well. She struggled with boundaries. She moved on eventually. Nothing alarming, nothing threatening. At least, not at first. The real threat wasn't Olivia. It was Hannah. The wedding was June 18th, a small vineyard just outside Asheville. String lights hanging like stars, soft music floating through warm summer air. Everything felt magical. Hannah stood beside me in a pale blue dress. Perfect hair, perfect smile, perfect performance. Right before I walked down the aisle, she squeezed my hand. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. Those words landed deep, solid, comforting, real. They were already poisoned by doubt. 3 weeks after the honeymoon, something shifted. Daniel became distant, not cold, not angry, just slightly removed, like he was standing half a step outside our marriage. "Everything okay?" I asked one evening. "Yeah," he said, but his voice didn't sit right. It floated, avoided. Something was off. Distance always has a source. The argument came suddenly, sharp, unexpectedly. "You weren't honest with me," Daniel said. My stomach tightened. "About what?" "About your past." My past? The room went cold. "What are you talking about?" He hesitated. That hesitation louder than any accusation. "Olivia told Hannah things," he said quietly. "Hannah told me." My heart stopped. My sister had become the messenger of lies. "What things?" I asked. "That you still had unresolved feelings." "For who?" "For your ex." I blinked. What? She said you never fully healed. I felt the world tilt. Olivia said that. She sounded convincing. Convincing. That word shattered something inside me because I knew exactly what was happening. Olivia wasn't talking to Daniel. She was talking through Hannah. I drove to my parents' house that night. Hannah was there, sitting at the kitchen counter like nothing had changed. "Hey," she said casually. Too casually. I didn't sit. "Why are you talking to Olivia?" Her smile froze, just for a fraction of a second, but I saw it. "He reached out," she said. "Why?" "Because he was worried about Daniel." Worried? That word felt like an insult. "What exactly did she tell you?" I asked. Hannah sighed. That dramatic sigh I knew too well. "Emily, I didn't mean to hurt you." There it was, the performance voice. "She said you weren't completely honest." "About what?" "Your emotional baggage." "My emotional baggage?" My chest tightened. "You mean the relationship I ended 5 years ago?" "She said you were still fragile." Fragile? I stared at her. "You didn't even ask me." "I didn't want drama." Honesty became drama when truth was inconvenient. That night at 1:47 a.m., I opened our shared item. Messages synced automatically, and there it was. Proof. Olivia feeding Hannah a carefully crafted story, line by line, lie by lie. Olivia, "Daniel deserves to know what Emily is really like." Hannah, "I just don't want him getting blindsided." Olivia, "She fooled me too." Hannah, "Tell me everything." My hands went numb. Message after message, Olivia twisting my past, painting me unstable, emotionally unreliable, secretly damaged, and Hannah listening, believing, encouraging. Betrayal doesn't need hatred, just willingness. The next morning, I sat Daniel down, not angry, broken. "Did Hannah tell you things about me?" He hesitated. That hesitation hurt more than any confession. "She just raised concerns," he said, "based on Olivia's lies." Silence. Then, "I didn't know who to believe." That sentence cut deep. "I'm your wife," I whispered, "and she's my sister." "I know, but..." But she sounded convincing. Of course she did. She had years of practice. Weeks passed. Daniel and I fought. Trust eroded slowly, painfully, grain by grain, until one night he finally said, "I don't know how to fix this." And I realized neither did I. Doubt had already done its job. I moved out 2 months later. Small apartment, quiet walls, a life that felt like someone else's tragedy. Hannah texted me. "I never meant for this to happen." I stared at the screen. Intentions don't erase consequences. Months later, the divorce was finalized. No dramatic courtroom scenes, just signatures. 2 people quietly acknowledged what suspicion destroyed. My marriage didn't end because of lies. It ended because of belief in them. One night, I found an old photo. Hannah and I as teenagers, laughing at the beach, her arm around me, my head on her shoulder. I didn't delete it, but I didn't smile either, because grief doesn't only follow death. Sometimes it follows betrayal. A few weeks ago, Hannah called. I let it ring, not from anger, from peace, because I finally understood something painful but necessary. Protecting your peace isn't cruelty. It's survival. There's a version of this story where we reconcile, where we cry, hug, and pretend none of this ever happened. Maybe that version comes later. Maybe it doesn't. But the version I live in now is quiet, stable, honest. And that is enough. I don't know what your family has done to you, but if someone wearing love ever handed you betrayal, hear this. You are not weak for hurting. You are not dramatic for needing distance, and you are not wrong for choosing peace. Real love doesn't destabilize your life. Real love feels like solid ground. And if you stayed until the end, subscribe, because the next story gets even more real.